Look at Google shares this morning, $905 over the 900 mark, traded up around 907, 908 this morning. Investors clearly think they got something there that they want to get in on. And as Google's I/O Developers Conference kicks off today, how much of a wow factor does the company need to roll out to appease customers and those investors who are buying the stock today? Where has the company struggled, and in what areas does it need to improve? Neil Malston, who is Strategy Analytics Executive Director, is here to talk about it this morning on the Money Beat Show. Good morning, Neil. Thanks for taking a few minutes to come on this morning.
Hey, thanks, Paul.
So what do you expect out of this conference today? Does Google need to do anything today, first off?
I think Google's doing relatively well as it stands. Its share price is on a bit of a roll for some time. It's got quite a lot of good products already, such as Search, for example, and Maps and so forth. So I don't think it really needs a proper wow factor, but obviously it needs to keep the ball rolling. So it'll need to be looking at those high growth areas where it can improve. So it'll be looking at things like what it can do better in mobile, what it can do better in Android and Maps. And also I think they'll possibly be talking about what they might do with wearable devices like Google Glass.
Mm-hmm. Now, what do you expect them to say about mobile, about Android? Obviously, the Android system has done very well. The phones are selling like hotcakes on it. What do you expect them to say this morning about mobile, or this afternoon?
Yeah, we expect them to talk a little bit about their roadmap, talk a little bit about what they'll be doing with Android over the next few quarters, how they'll be upgrading the software, but also what they'll be doing to upgrade the services that go with that as well. So they'll be talking about how they can make Maps richer, for example, or what they might be doing with the music side of things and so forth. So they'll be looking to make the ecosystem more robust and giving more details on that.
All right, and you mentioned the music side of it. We have a few stories this morning floating around All Things D and on the Journal talking about music and Google at this conference. Do you expect them to announce some kind of a music service?
There's plenty of rumors flying around, and as you say, the Wall Street Journal has reported on things similar to that. I think it's probably likely that there will be some announcement related to music. It's clear that a number of rivals like Spotify, Pandora, Deezer, they're doing relatively well with their streaming and subscription music services. So this is an area that Google will be looking at very closely to both sell not just subscriptions but also advertisements as well, both to fixed and mobile users. So I think it's very possible that there will be some announcement related to the music side of things.
Yeah, and you mentioned Google Glass before, and it seems like there's another one of these things that they roll out they just roll out a ton of products, and it seems kind of nerdy, kind of wonky, kind of something that would never be a mainstream thing. I mean, I like these glasses. I don't want Google glasses. But is that the kind of thing that, and we've seen it before with them, they roll out a product, everyone says, oh, it's neat, but then a couple of years down the road, it becomes a mainstream thing. I mean, how real is the whole Google Glass concept?
Yeah, I think you're right, Paul. At the moment, Google Glass, in terms of wearable devices, facial-based devices for phones and computing, are still very niche. They're relatively expensive. They can be a little bit user-unfriendly. They look a little bit odd as well, sat on people's faces, and behavior of how people use them is important. But I think we're really in the first generation of wearable devices today. So all first generation products tend to take off slowly. It's really the second and third generation products, maybe 1, 2, 3 years from now, that we should really be paying close attention to. And as computers get smaller, then they're more likely to be worn on the body rather than held in the pocket or in a purse. And we think wearable devices in the long term have a good future.
All right, Neil Malston, Strategy Analytics. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us this morning.